All-Stars. We are so happy to see you. You know we love you. It's a love affair. That's all it is. We want to motivate you, and we want to give you good information so that you go out and you help other All-Stars, help them shine their stars. Well, today is no exception. We have a great, great guest with us. And guess what? All of you guys have seen him. Yes, you have. Tony Gladney, thank you so much for joining us. We are so honored to have you with us.
It is so good to be here with you, Judge Angel.
I have to tell you, when you walk into a room, everybody goes, "There's Tony." And that's because people are so happy to see you, and you bring such joy and just a good vibration when you come into a room.
Yes.
I know so many great attributes that you have. It's just wonderful. Tell us, were you born here in Vegas?
I was actually born in the San Francisco Bay Area, in a city, San Mateo, California. And then I eventually moved in a city next door and grew up in Foster City, California, which is in San Mateo County. So from that area, had a lot of great talent come out of there, actors, athletes, entertainers. Very, very proud of the area. But I've been in Las Vegas since 1983.
Okay, well, wait a minute. Now, Foster, is that the name of it?
Foster City. So Foster City was an island, and it was built on water. And so it was a project. And in actuality, it was, at the time, diversity wasn't in existence, but it was what we would call a diversity project at the time. It was one of the first cities in America that actually didn't redline. And so when we moved there, my parents were a part of a group called HELP. And this group HELP would encourage diverse families to move in and to really invest their money. And so it was a labor of love, but it was a project to really diversify. When at the time in the 70s, we moved there in the early 70s, 1973, where there actually was a lot of redlining going on across the United States.
Who were some of the people that came out of there?
That came out of there was the Haysbert family. Dennis Haysbert, the actor. You're in good hands with Allstate. Ready to excel. We had Lynn Swan, the football great. We had individuals. The person that discovered PayPal. He was from Foster City. Barry Bonds. They moved there for a time. I played against Barry Bonds.
Wow.
That's the area where Willie Mays and a lot of individuals were. In fact, when the San Francisco Giants played Hank Aaron would go around and Hank Aaron would get a gift when he was breaking that record, the 714 record. And I had a close friend named David Roach, and David attended Morehouse College. We graduated together. And so I saw a big picture in his house of Hank Aaron leaning on his bat that said 714. And so I just thought, I wonder if 715, excuse me, he broke Hank Aaron's record.
Oh, okay.
And so he leaned on it. So I said, "Hey man, that's a interesting picture." He says, "Yeah, that's my Uncle Hank. My Aunt Billy, who's my mom's sister, married Uncle Hank. And when the Giants bestowed that the honor on him, the painting, he couldn't take it home with him, so he left it there at their house, and he never picked it up." So, just a lot of great things that take place. And, the Bay Area was a lot of times the movement. You saw a lot of movements taking place. You saw the movements, remember, you hear stories, but the Black Panther Party was in Oakland. You had a lot of things happening on the California Berkeley campus, a lot of protests, so there was a lot of activity that I saw when I was young in that San Francisco Bay Area.
Where'd you go to college?
So I went to college at UNLV. I actually had many choices to go to UNLV, or many choices of colleges to go to. I attended UNLV on a football scholarship. And so when I was trying to decide on what college I would go to, I had a friend of the family's who I just mentioned, the Swans, and Mama Millie. I was on the phone with her and I said, Mama Millie, I'm trying to decide what college to go to. And she expressed, hey, Tony, she's like, where are the colleges? I started mentioning UNLV, University of Iowa, BYU, San Diego State. And she said, when you go to UNLV, there's a young man named Randall Cunningham. He just took over the starting job. And when Lynn went to USC, he roomed with his brother, Sam the Bam Cunningham. and if you remember the story, University of Alabama didn't recruit black athletes at the time. And USC, John McKay, Sam Cunningham, Lynn Swann, all the group went, and Sam the Bam Cunningham had like almost 300 yards, if not 300 yards or more. And Bear Bryant said, man, we need to start getting those black players. And it was a history break. And it actually, they said, broke the color barrier. So, obviously there were a lot of different things. But when people found out I was going to UNLV, they said, wow, why is Tony picking UNLV? And so, I think the good Lord must have had a reason for putting it on my heart, because now all of us that live in Las Vegas are some of the smartest people from over here.
Especially in the day before it got so expensive.
Yeah.
That is wonderful. And I like the story about the lady telling you, because so-and-so is there. And that's what it's really about, access.
That's right.
You can be the smartest, the most talented, but if you don't have access where people see what you're doing and get to the position where they will help you come up. That was awesome.
Yes, they do a great job, and
great job, great people,
it's great people, and obviously we have a lot of churches that we attend in our communities, but it's always good to see, when you have individuals such as Randall and individuals that are really uplifting and empowering people, and that's a plus, and we need that more than ever.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It makes you feel good all the time. Now, you played football in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And how did you get recruited? Give us that inside story.
You got it. So I started playing football in the 6th grade.
Wow.
And so
you were like Shaq.
Oh man, I'm telling you. And so just big guy. So at the start I was small. Really? I begged my father, bless his heart, all night. Dad, I want to play Pop Warner. He says, hey, little man, you're too small. I went in every hour on the hour. Dad, can you reconsider? And bless my father's heart, he said, if this kid's going to come in on the hour, all night, every hour, I'm going to go and sign him up. Well, little would I know that my father was sick, and he died that year. He died when I was in the 6th grade. And so I dedicated my football career to him. And so that's when I started, ended up going through high school, college, and then having the opportunity to play a short time in the National Football League for the San Francisco 49ers. So
wow. That
was a dream come true for me. And what a dream come true to play for the team that I watched, that I grew up watching. Now, the Raiders are also involved in that because I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area where they had the San Francisco 49ers and the Oakland Raiders. So,
okay.
Really, I know it's hard to fathom, but I actually love both teams.
You have enough love to go out.
That's right.
You know what? Excuse me, All Stars, but I think I neglected to tell you exactly who Anthony Tony Gladney is. He is the Vice President of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion in the Department of Social Impact and Sustainability for MGM Resorts International. Isn't that wonderful? I am so proud of you. That was no joke.
Thank you so much.
How did you get with MGM, and tell us that journey?
So when I came back from the NFL and I decided that I would really exert my efforts to starting a career outside of sports, I decided to move back to Las Vegas. And when I came, I went to an alumni meeting and met a gentleman named Danny Wade. Danny would end up being our vice chairman of MGM Mirage at the time ended up being the president of MGM Grand, and he ended up being on MGM Mirage's board of directors. At the time, he was an alumnus of UNLV. I attended a meeting, and he says, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "Well, I want to use my intrapersonal communication skills." And he says, "Well, that sounds good. We got a job for you in the cage as a cashier." And I said, "Great, I'll take it. You got to crawl before you can walk, and you got to walk before you can run." But little did I know that I would strategically be put in that role to see if they could trust me with the money. So I had a $5,000 drawer. I'd cash in and out chips. The property was called the Marina. Then it turned into the MGM Arena because Mr. Kirk Kerkorian, the major shareholder at the time, brought it out. And then they brought out the golf course, which was called Tropicana Golf Course. And then they would, years later, build the MGM Grand right on that very spot. And so I started out in the cage as a cashier. Those who were faithful over a few things, over many. I ended up, being able to go from there, take a job at UNLV in Minority Affairs, which later on we turned that department into Multicultural Affairs, developed that department. And then I got a call one day from Sidney Kaiser Murphy, former president of New York, also former president of the Palms. I see more great things coming out of her. And they hired me as a community affairs manager in 1993. And I got hired after the Rodney King incidents had taken place. There was uprisings all across our country. We had uprisings in Las Vegas. People were frustrated, and I get it. And so MGM Grand, which was our only property, took on an employment outreach program that would hire economically disadvantaged, dislocated workers and really show that, hey, we want to make sure that we work with the Jobs Training Partnership Act to hire individuals. And we ended up hiring a record-breaking 1,652 employees, took a lot of individuals off unemployment, welfare, and so on. So largest program of its kind. And that was my start with MGM Grand.
What a great start to know you were a part of the impact for all of those individuals, which meant their families. Oh my God.
Yeah, it was great. And it's a testament because obviously MGM Grand has grown and blossomed into really a company where we have, 11, 12 properties on the Las Vegas Strip. We have properties throughout the country and internationally, but there was that essence of making sure that we empower the communities in which we operated. And at that time, you saw the ushering in of Nevada Partners, and you saw a lot of scenarios taking place, which our company was very intricately involved in. And so it was just a great opportunity. And it was a great opportunity because for me, the passion for me, and I didn't realize it, was to impact others. And so to be able to work for a company that had that commitment to the community. And obviously we eventually would go into Detroit and we would open up employment centers, and we'd have great citizens that made sure that there was accountability, and that's the kind of community that MGM wanted to operate in as well. So I really felt like there was that commitment to the community, commitment to have upward mobility for all people, and an impact to make the communities better in those areas in which they operated.
It's just one system in my mind, because when the game changer, the employer, the MGMs of the world, you go in and you give people jobs. You change their lives. You change their aspirations, their directions. And the kids are totally impacted immediately. So it's such an impact to be such a positive employer. Oh my God, I just love it, love it, love it. What are some of the, if there were any, what's key strategies did you have to put in place as you were going up the ladder? As you said, you were putting in a position that many people can't pass that test of being surrounded with all of that money daily. And to me, you're not a thief. You're not going to be a thief, and your mama wouldn't have it. So you gotta be straight.
Yeah. No, you do. I think, the strategies are everyone deserves an opportunity, and I got that opportunity. And I think some of the strategies are, that, you only get sometimes one impression to make a lasting impression. And so little would I realize that within that strategy to do my best, to be honest, to make sure that I treated people like I want to be treated. I didn't realize people were watching me more than I thought they were watching me.
Oh yeah.
And
today.
Yeah, even today. And so for me, I think that strategy is, for me, it was do the right thing even when nobody's watching.
Especially.
Right?
Yes.
And I think that helped me. And I think it helped me from a perspective to, a lot of times I have a saying, be careful of the toes. I'll give you the rated G version because we're on TV. Be careful of the toes you step on today, because they might be connected to the bottom you have to kiss tomorrow. You don't know who you're interacting with. You don't know who you're engaging with. You don't know who's going to come to that person and say, we're thinking about, Judge Angel or Tony Gladney for, upward mobility position or a promotion. How does he treat you? And you might be that janitor, or you might be that cleaning person, or you might be that housekeeper. Anyone to say, how does he interact? Does he treat people with dignity and respect? Does Judge Angel treat people with dignity and respect? So you don't know who you're interacting with. And a lot of times you don't know who knows who. Because now, you remember it used to be from a standpoint, Judge, where it was 6 degrees of separation. 1 degree of separation.
I believe it. Absolutely.
And so you don't know who you're entertaining, or you don't know who you're interacting with. And so I think that was really important for me, to make sure that I treated people the way I wanted to be treated. And also to make sure that I dressed and I presented myself in the direction that I wanted to go in, And even if people said, hey, you're kind of overdressed, you're like, okay, that's okay. You can always overdress and dress down, but you can never underdress and dress up.
That's right.
For me, it was just, presenting myself in the direction that I wanted to go in.
For sure. Well, folks, we're going to come right back, and you're going to hear more from Tony Gladney, MGM Vice President. Yeah, I'm proud. See you in a minute, All Stars. All Stars, remember, don't make someone a priority if you are only an option to them.
Hi, I'm Mike Faust, and I've been with First Choice Business Brokers now for over 19 years, working with both buyers and sellers. In the world of business sales, opportunities abound. But navigating the complex landscape of buying or selling a business can be daunting. If you're thinking of selling, you have to understand that finding a buyer for your business is really just the first step. Getting that buyer through due diligence, managing the relationships between the parties, coordinating the activity with the lender, the attorneys, and escrow, and keeping that deal together for weeks, sometimes months, to get through the close is where working with a good broker really pays off. I'd love to share more information with you and work with you to get the best price possible for your business. And if you're a buyer, give me a call. I'd love to help you work your way through the process. Call me, 702-610-1966.
All Stars, as you go through this week, remember, you don't have to look for happiness. Happiness is within you. All Stars, I know you've seen Tony Gladney walking around at every big event. He makes every effort to stop in, to motivate the people giving the event, to hold them up for esteem and honor. So you have to be like me and say, how does he do it? How does he keep such a positive attitude? We're going to find out. Tony Gladney from MGM Resort International. Tony, thank you for staying with us. We're so honored
To be here with you.
How did you learn the philosophy you were sharing of treating others the way you would want to be treated?
I think I learned it from my parents, one. And I think I learned it through, obviously, I was always in church. I mean, my mom, if I wasn't in athletics, and my mom had me in church. I mean, singing in the choir, being a junior deacon, you name it. And so I think I learned a lot of my humility from there, in knowing that, you're no better than anyone else, but no one else is any better than you. And we all treat each other with dignity no matter what. And I think another thing would be the executives I've been around. Very humble. I remember the presidents that I've worked for, to now Bill Hornbuckle at MGM Resorts. Very, 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 very humble. All the way down to Danny Wade, the person I told you about, that very humble, right, who brought me into the industry. And then people like Kirk Kerkorian. Kirk Kerkorian was the major shareholder of MGM Resorts, a legend, was humble. In fact, the first time that I stepped on the employment center at MGM Grand, I saw Mr. Kerkorian very humble, and he, I don't know whose car it was, but he stepped out of a Ford Taurus, and he shook my hand and how you doing? And he went into the facility, he had people around him. Obviously, I said, wow, he's very important. Yeah. And I said, who is that? And they said, oh, that's Kirk Kerkorian, the most humblest man, but makes so much impact. So I've been around people that have been so humble and maybe had the reason sometimes beat themselves on the chest, but they never did. And that was women and men. I've been around a lot of great women and been around a lot of great men. And so I think that's where I get that, because I think it's so important. And then when in doubt, those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted.
Yes. Yes. And that's so important. Whew. So much wisdom. I'm just soaking it in. Thank you. I know you all-stars are getting it, because this is where we live. We love it. Now, you play football, and you mentioned one of my favorites, Barry Bonds. Yeah, Barry Bonds. Played with him?
Yeah, so I played against Barry. Barry actually went to Sarah High School. Sarah is the private high school in San Mateo. San Mateo High School was a public high school. I went to San Mateo. So guys like Lynn Swann, Barry Bonds, Tom Brady, wow. A lot of guys, it was all boys school. They went to that school. And so, yeah, I played against Barry. Barry was, I played against him in basketball, and, he was Barry. He was very confident. And so I took it as such. A lot of times, when you're there in athletics, people can take confidence for arrogance. And so, out there playing in front of hundreds of thousands of fans, you have to have some confidence.
Right.
And so Barry had confidence. And Barry was from a great line, from Willie Mays to Willie McCovey, to just a great line of baseball players that he grew up with that were a part of his circle. And so, it was always great to interact with individuals. And the one thing that I was always taught was, and this is carried on into, I think, to my professional life, obviously, you, when you were in Detroit, a lot of, entertainers and very influential individuals. But, one of the things I found over the years was, like, you treat people how you want to be treated. And so a lot of times, I know we see people at the hotel, or we see people at our properties, and, you're excited to see them, but you know that they're having vacation and they're trying to unwind. And so, you speak to them, hey, how you doing? Hope you're enjoying your vacation. Nice little interaction. And you try to appreciate and respect that, hey, they're on vacation too. And a lot of them are really good about things, but then you try to give them their respect. So I've always been that way.
So I shouldn't run up and say, ah! People that do.
People love, people, and that's what it's, for some people, it's what it's all about. For me, I've always tried to appreciate, that, they're trying to experience scenarios when I see them at our properties. And so you give them that privacy.
And I hear something in you. you're not thinking of yourself. You're thinking of what is that person wanting in this instance?
Yes.
What are they trying to achieve?
Yes.
And you're trying to assist them with their goal, where they want to be in that moment. So I'm stopping, no more.
I mean, they love their fans now, and a lot of people are really a lot of the entertainers, and they're great about that. And I think that's what we do. And one of the things I think that's really so important is we're talking about influential people. You know, that's how we like to treat our communities that we operate in. MGM Resorts, that's what we believe in. That's how we like to treat our employees. We have, them, we look at them as, our colleagues. We had it, at one of our properties, they had at one particular point in time when we integrated, they were calling them co-stars. I mean, everyone's important in that environment. No matter what the job is, if not without that job, we don't accomplish what we accomplish.
That's right.
And so that's why it's so important that we treat everyone dignity, respect. And to your point in your question, how is it that someone like me that represents a company and represents Tony Gladney is able to treat people like, I treat people? It's because I'm representing 60,000 plus employees at MGM Resorts International. And so 60,000 plus. And so in me, I get the opportunity to represent them in our diversity, equity, and inclusion, our social impact and sustainability efforts, and what we do and what we're doing to empower the communities where we operate. And I'm helping to be a reflection of the company that I represent, of my family, and all of those employees that make us great. And so I take great pride in that. I take great pride in how I interact with people and how we're positive, because I would like them to think about, hey, this is what you're going to get when you come to MGM Resorts.
Which is beautiful. It's a lot of responsibility, and it's a great honor to know you're representing all of those people, and to know you're doing a good job, because the response that people have to you when you walk in the room says it all. Yeah. You couldn't buy it. There's no way. It's genuine with people. And I like the fact that when you enter a room, you try and speak to every single person. And it may be 300 folks in that room. But before you go to that head table, before you go to the front, hi, how are you doing? Nice to see you. Trying to speak to every single person.
It's important. It takes energy.
I am proud of you.
I'm proud of you too. And light sees light. And that's what I see in you. And that's why I'm honored to sit with you and sit before you and conversate with you, because we have that respect for you. You're a role model, and I'm proud to call you my friend.
Thank you so much. And on that, I think that's the epitome. I can't go any higher. All Stars, we're going to see you very soon.
Hi, I'm Tony Gladney with MGM Resorts, and I'm proud to be a part of Judge Angel's All Stars TV show.